Yeah, welcome. So today we are going to start the Power BI series, and this is the first class. And the goal of this particular session is going to be to introduce you. That is the goal of this video. It's going to be to introduce you to you know the Power BI ecosystem, everything that Microsoft Power BI has going for it as concerning business intelligence and the way everything comes together within the data analytics and data science ecosystem. So we are going to do kind of like a deep dive into you know how Power BI works, the entire thing that comes together, the entire like collection of software and the systems that comes together to form what we know as Power BI. Then we're going to be looking at how each one of them, each one of those tools or softwares, how they complement each other and how they can actually help our business intelligence and data analytics endeavor. Also, we are going to be seeing how we can connect um, to several data sources, most especially how to move data from sources like databases, CSV files, how to like move them into our working system here. And we've already covered extensively um, databases in the previous classes. So there is a playlist on that, that you can actually go through and check if you haven't. I'm always of the opinion that before you take classes on Power BI, you should have, learned SQL, should have learned databases. It makes it makes more sense that way. It will help you have more appreciation for what Power BI can do. So let's get into it. So whenever if you do not have the software yet, you can just download it. It is fairly easy to install. Go to Power BI website, um, Microsoft Power BI. Just you can search that on Google. Whatever links pop up first, usually you click on that and just straightforward installation. Or another thing you can do is, on Windows, you can just go to Microsoft Store and, you know, just download Power BI from there. So it's very easy to set up. So once that is installed, all you need to do is just double click and it will bring you to a page like this. So what we are looking at currently is the page that you're going to get greeted whenever you open Power BI. And before we dive into all of the point and clicks and all of that, let's firstly like understand why we need Power BI. So in the previous sessions, we talk about SQL database and all of that, and we um, you know explained. I explained in those sessions that the reason we need SQL is because majority of the data you're going to be working with as a data analyst or as a data scientist already lives in the database. In fact, the reason why your skill set is needed usually as a data analyst is that, or as a business intelligence developer, is that the company already has data. They already have, you know, those data sitting in a database and they actually need you to make sense of it. So now imagine you can do all of the fun stuff in Power BI, you can analyze, you can, build models in Python, you can run statistical tests, do hypothesis tests and all of that, but you cannot communicate with the platform that houses the data. So that's the reason why we need SQL. That's the reason why we need to learn how to use SQL so that we can actually communicate with the platform where the data is saved. Now, so why do we actually need Power BI? So the way I like to think about it is this: Power BI bridges the gap between data and non-technical audience. So if you think about it, within the data ecosystem, all of the tools that we have in data ecosystem, I feel like the one that helps you to actually bring insight closer to stakeholders, especially stakeholders that are non-technical. They are not interested in. I wouldn't say they are not interested in very technical stuff, but they don't really like have deep appreciation or deep understanding for the p values, for the r squared, for the root mean squared errors and stuff like that. They just really want to like see something, and usually they have domain expertise. Imagine you are talking to somebody that has very good knowledge in the field. So if you can help them present the data, if you can help them present the data in a way, like if you can present the data in a way to them, they are really really going to be able to make informed decision just from looking at the charts that you've been able to put together. So I feel like that is where Power BI really shines, and basically every business intelligence too. So you know business intelligence, the way I think about it is kind of like this art of bridging the gap between raw data and non-technical audience. So you help them curate and prepare the data set in a way that when they look at it and couple that information with their own domain expertise, they can actually make very, very good, sound, informed business decision. So that's what Power BI does. Power BI help us to make meaning of data, and there are usually two deliverables. So the two main deliverables that you are going to see in Power in usually every business intelligence endeavor is report and dashboard. So the two important deliverables that whenever we open Power BI and we're gonna work, usually the deliverables are one of report or dashboard. And we are going to really like see how to build all of this, how to build these two things, report and dashboard. But firstly, what does a report? What's a report? What is a report? So a report in um, Power BI. Before we even get into that, you know, in Power BI we make charts, and that is actually what happens generally in data. So the very appealing way uh, to present data in traditional statistics, in maths, in science, STEM generally, is through charts. And you must have seen charts before. There is a bar chart, there is, the pie charts and all of that. But now, to take that forward, sometimes we want to combine multiple charts together and tailor them towards telling the same story. Like you're telling the same story, but then you don't want to just tell it with a single chart, right? You don't just want to tell it with a single chart. You want to like, uh, come up with multiple charts, and all of them are tailored towards the same story. So that is what you would call a dashboard, like a collection of charts tailored towards the same story. That is what you would call a dashboard. And it usually provide real-time visual overview of key metrics for quick decision making, right? So the dashboard will usually contain a few charts, put together, telling like the same story. Every single chart in that place is, going in one direction, and they are usually like just there for us to like make quick decision, so that whenever you show it to a stakeholder, they can look at it and say, okay, this is what to take away from this. But then what's a report? So a report is usually a collection of dashboards or even much more detailed um um analysis, and it's usually like static. So the way you think about dashboard is, all of your finance app, your bank app, things like that, your I'd like to say CRMs for people that are in e-commerce and all of that. There's always going to be this dashboard, something real time, single page that allows you to monitor things. What's my spending? What's my income? And all of that. So that's a dashboard. One single page, you have a glance at it, it's fine. And it's usually like real time. Data keeps coming into it and all of that. But for a report, you can think of it as, it could be collection of dashboards, detailed and usually static, and it contains, deep analysis, deep insights, right? And it is always comprehensive and structured, and it can be interactive too. It depends on how you put it together. But the real difference is that a dashboard is just like, uh, collection of charts, real time, that helps quick decision making. While report is a can be a collection of dashboard, like several dashboard dashboards that offer deep insights, and is, always very static. So, and those are the two deliverables. And by the end of this course, you are going to understand how to build these two um, things, these two deliverables. So, yeah, having explained the difference between dashboard and report, the next thing that we will do is look at the uh, Power BI, ecosystem itself. So the page that you are seeing right now is the Power BI desktop. So Power BI as a business intelligence tool has two sides to it. So there is the Power BI desktop and there is the Power BI service, which is kind of like the online version of Power BI, the remote version. So Power BI desktop is actually the one that sits locally on your computer and lets you build things. You don't have to be connected to the internet. You can just build stuff. But then when you get to the point where you want to, collaborate with people, you want to share your work and stuff like that, you need to actually push your work to Power BI service. And it offers majority of the things that you would find in Power BI desktop, but it's a little bit limited. And but the plus to that is just that you can share your work. And to access Power BI service, you just need to come to, here probably in your own case, if you are just installing, you are going to see something like sign in here. And if you have a Microsoft account, you are going to be able to sign in. So I don't think they take personal accounts, so something like student account or work account. So I have my student account here. So if you click on Power BI service, it launches web Chrome web page, excuse me, and you can come to app.powerbi.com. Takes you to app.powerbi.com and it's going to open Power BI service for you. It's going to be something that looks a lot like what you just saw now. So my trial has 13 days left. Interesting. So you can see that you have all of this and you can, start a new project. You have your workspace here. You have the previous, these are like the projects that I worked on in the past, and I could click on any of them and it is going to bring up my work. And if I want to start a new one, I click on new report and it's going to like bring up my work. But usually the flow is always you create what you want to create in Power BI desktop, and you like move that to Power BI service. So now let's switch our focus to Power BI desktop. And Power BI desktop also it has three layers to it. I think four lately. They've added new thing, this new tab for DAX. Now, the important thing is, we have a dedicated session coming up for DAX in this playlist also. You're going to find it, if you continue this course long enough. So DAX is something that does, did not used to have this dedicated tab, right? But recently, in one of their updates, they've added it. Yeah, so that makes it like four layers. But the real three layers that used to be here before are, the visuals page or the report page or the report view, which is this page that we are on currently, and the table view, which is going to be the page that houses your data, We are going to move a data in shortly. But the moment we move a data in, we are going to find the data here. Then we have the model view, where we are going to have something like a schema. If you are coming from SQL, it is going to have something like an AR diagram, an entity relationship diagram that shows all of the tables that you have and the connection, the cardinality and all of that, the relationship. Relationship is the right word between each of those tables. And these DAX that I told you was just added is where you can actually write your DAX, your DAX query, and the result is going to show here. And you can that particular thing can actually be done in the table view also. You can write DAX here, can be done in the report view also. The moment you click on new measure or new table, it's going to give you a tab for you to work on here. But don't forget, report view, where we actually build the visuals, table view, where we see our data and we can work on stuff, then model view, where we are going to have our entity relationship diagram for us. And the diagram is interactive, it's not static like something you have in SQL. So it's interactive, you can edit things, you can move things around, and all of the changes you make in table view is going to apply in model view. Then DAX, where you write data analysis expression, which is a way for us to give set of queries or instruction to the Microsoft Power BI engine to run. All right. So now on this side of things, so um, as we move on, as we proceed in this course, we're going to be switching between these three tabs a lot. So that's the reason why I needed to show that. So all of the stuff up here, I'm not going to be going through them one by one. We are going to be needing each one of them. So I'll be showing you the name that we have for them. So whenever we have a need for one of the tab, you see just what that particular tab do. Perfect. So the next thing for us to do is to actually talk about these particular tabs here. So we have data tab here. The moment we load our data in, the column names are going to be listed here, and something called measures are going to be listed here also. In fact, every single thing that we are going to be working with regarding the data set itself is going to be listed here alongside um, things like that we create from the data set, things like measures, like new tables, stuff like that. But don't worry, also, you are going to understand what measures mean as we proceed. Right. So here is the visuals. So this is the page where we choose the visualization that we want. So all of these visuals here, we can choose anyone by clicking, and that's going to, give us something. Then the moment we load our data in, we can drag something into x-axis, y-axis, and we're going to have our chart. And another thing is we can also edit our chart. So we can format our chart. There are going to be a lot of stuff in here for us to format. And lastly, on this aspect of things is the filters. So we can come here and actually add page level filters. So if there are filters that we want to add on the entire page, we can add them here. If we want to reduce the scope of the report or the dashboard to particular year, particular section, a particular categorical variable, things like that, this is where we apply it. And there is page level filter, and there is also something like a chart level filter. So if you want to do something like a chart level filter and stuff, you probably want to do it with slicers. So the filters that we apply here actually affect the whole page, affects the whole page. So but all of this will make more sense as we proceed, but this is just for us to know our way around this particular application. So here the column name of the table of the tables are going to be listed here. The visualizations that I'm going to be using to create dashboard or reports, they are going to be listed here. And here I'm going to have the ability to apply filters here. And all of these visuals, there is also a dedicated class on visuals that we're going to be getting into. and you can get more visuals on this page. So that is how this work. And in here, like on this area of the screen is where we have pages. So if we have a report that has multiple pages, if you click on plus, it gives us page two, and we have two different pages, page one and two. So that is what happens there. Now let's get to the part where we actually bring in a data, and we are going to see different ways of connecting our data. First thing, the first type that we're going to be looking at is the CSV file. So I'm going to say get data. So whenever you want to bring a data in, all you have to do is click get data, and you're going to see a lot of sources, you know, Excel workbook, semantic model, SQL Server, web, and all of that. So you could click on more if you want to see more sources. So if you click on more, it is going to display. It's going to give you a page like this. Perfect. So if you have a CSV file, an Excel workbook that you want to load, you just click on that, whatever it is you want to load. So you could, click on it. PDF. If your data is in PDF format, you can click on that also. XML, anything. And if your data is in a database, this is a MySQL database, or you could click on database itself, and you're going to see all the supported databases here. So MySQL database and all of that. Now, in my day to day, I usually have to load one of these three, either Excel workbook, text, or CSV, which is usually a CSV file, and connecting to database. And usually, it's for me, it's always MySQL database. So I'm going to be showing you the the two. So I'm going to be doing MySQL database and CSV. CSV is pretty much like workbook, Excel workbook. So whatever applies, then applies to these also. So let's start with CSV. So CSV is fairly easy. Just click on text, CSV, click on connect, and it is going to pop up your stuff. So I could maybe take one of these data sets here. No, that is not a data set to be shared. Um, yeah, maybe this. Yeah, maybe this insurance one. It's a practice data set. So I'm going to click on insurance, and it's connecting. And once it is done, we are going to have a pop-up. Yeah. Now, so we have this pop-up for every time you try to get your data in, you're going to get this pop-up. Now, this pop-up is not going to contain this particular tab that you're seeing is not going to contain everything in your data set. It's just going to contain some preview, right? It's going to contain some preview. And this is showing us like, okay, these are the columns that you have in your data set, and what do you want to do with it? So in this case, if I should click on load, it will take me straight to Power BI desktop. And this is a fairly like important stuff. So if you click on load, that will take you to Power BI desktop. Now, if you click on transform data, it will take you to another software called Power Query. And if you've ever used Microsoft Excel, you are going to know that Microsoft Excel also has Power Query, coupled with it. And Power Query is like Microsoft's dedicated tool for data wrangling, for data cleaning. So if you want to, if you know you want to transform your data, you want to do some cleaning and all of that, you click on transform data. So I'm just going to do that to show you. However, there is also there's a session on Power Query that covers data cleaning, how to use Power Query and all of that. And you should also check that out in this particular series. So this is what Power Query looks like, and you see that we have our data sets, the insurance data, set into this, and we could do all of the cleaning and transformation. And you know once we are done, we click on close and apply, which is something also that you're going to be seeing in the subsequent classes. But we're not doing any cleaning here. We just say close and apply, and it um takes us to Power BI desktop. So the data set that we've just cleaned is going to be loaded into Power BI desktop, and we can play around with it, or build anything I want to build with it. So that is how you do something like that. Let's see why that is. I think something might have happened. Okay, let's just give it time to finish. Yeah, so sorry for the break. There was a glitch. Power BI can, be like that sometimes. So, um, finally, the data is in, and yeah, like I showed you earlier, on this side of things, these are our table here, and our table is the insurance table, the data set, and we have these columns: age, BMI, charges, children, region, sex, and smoker. And like I showed earlier, if we click on table view, now we are not just going to be seeing blanks, we are going to be seeing our data set here. So we have our data set here, and we see all of them. And here we're going to see the ER diagram, kind of like the model, the schema, if you want to like call it that. So if we have multiple tables, let me show you this. Let me make this small. If we have multiple tables, we could go. We are going to actually be able to do that in Power Query. We could go back into Power Query and maybe duplicate this table, and you're going to see here we are going to have two tables, right? So well, that is that. And if we have some queries, some dark queries to write relating to this table, we can actually write it here. Now, the other stuff for us to do is to look at how to. Okay, I didn't mention that. Let's say we want to plot a chart. We can click on the chart. Let's say we want to put a simple bar chart here. We can do that. Click on the bar chart. All of these um, columns have like this sigma sign, this summation. They are all numeric. So these ones are categorical. So I could drag a region into x-axis and drag BMI into y-axis. So at the end of the day, we'll see this kind of chart. So that's how easy it is to make a visual, to make a chart in Power BI. And we are seeing some of BMI. I don't know why anybody would want to do that. Probably average BMI. So right. So that is how you make a chart in um Power BI. That's how you also load the data, a CSV file. So let's try and get in a SQL. Let's connect to a SQL database. So we go back and say get data again. Then here we are going to look for databases. Since we cannot find it here, we'll click on more, click more, and this is MySQL database. If you don't have it listed here, you probably want to click on database and you're going to see it. So we click on MySQL database and we click connect, and should present to us a dialog box. So if you do not see this, especially if it is your first time of using Power BI, if you do not see the dialog box, what you want to do is it's going to tell you that you are missing some connectors. So if you click on like OK or something like that, probably take you to the link. It will give you the link to the website to download the connector. So you download the connector and you're going to be fine. So my server is actually local host, especially if you are working. If you are I'm connecting to a database that is sitting on my own computer, so I'm doing local host. In your case, you probably pass in the exact credential of that remote database, and database you're going to be connecting to is not Wind, the same practice database that we used in our class. So I want to say if your command should run for 2 minutes and does not do anything, it should time out, because that would mean it is not efficient or something is wrong. Then the SQL statement that we want to write, so probably write our SQL statement here. So we could go something like select star from employees. Let's do that. And you could do something fancy. You can do all of your joins and stuff like that. You can do it here also. So if I should click OK, actually let's actually get more stuff. So we can go select e dot first name, comma e dot last name, comma o dot um order ID. Then we can get o dot right, comma, let's get ship country. Then perfect. I think that is perfect. Then we can see from employees as E, join others as O, just the stuff that you are already familiar with on O dot employee ID equals E dot employee ID, something like that. So with this, we can say okay and check. So if that works, we are going to get our data back, just like we did with the CSV file. Right. So our data is here. We have first name, last name, order ID, freight, ship country, and order date. So we can again either transform data, takes us to Power Query, and we transform our data, or load, and it directly loads the data set. So we can click on load, right? Just so that it loads directly to Power BI desktop. Like I said earlier, we are going to actually, cover a different class on Power Query. So if you come to this place, now I could, first let's go to model now. Model view. So we have two tables now. So we have insurance table and we have this query one table, which is actually the others table. But then we there is really no relationship between these two tables, right? Because this is from our database and this is just something, a CSV that does not in any way, this is about insurance and this is some other things. So we could rename this, maybe name it, we could say orders table. So if we call this orders table, we can just to show to you how to establish like relationship between two tables. Here we can go into get data again and more. Then let's get MySQL database again, connect, and we are going to go localhost again. Database is not Wind again. Then advanced is going to be 2 also. Then you can go select star. So we just get everything that is inside other details. So we say select star from uh, other details. just so that we can create kind of like this joint relationship. We can link the two tables together. So let's run that and see what our output is going to be. So um we are here, so we just again we directly load it, we won't transform it. And the goal is to, since this has other ID, the other has other ID also, we're just going to link them together. Going to link them together. So still loading now. Yeah, so you're going to see that now this let me actually move this to this side. Let me collapse this a little bit. Now you're going to see that automatically Power BI detects that there is a relationship between these two tables, right? Let me make this, yeah, very small. So between table orders and query one, which we are going to rename right now to order details. Enter. So it sees that between order details and orders, there is a relationship, and it says that also. If I should click on this, it says that between order details and order, what joins them together is actually order ID. So the table order details, yeah, has a column called order ID, yeah, and the table orders has a column called order ID also. And the relationship between order details and order is many to one relationship, or you could call it one to many if you are coming from orders. And this relationship is currently active. So you can edit it if you feel like it has not done very well, or it should not be that table that column that is being joined together. You can always edit it here and all of that. And that becomes particularly interesting where when you are doing normalization, you have wide data yourself, very wide data, and you are cutting it down yourself, you are normalizing it to make the entire thing efficient. So that is the way that is. So when you have tables, relationships, Power BI auto detect it. So yeah, that is that. So far so good. We've seen how to load data into Power BI. We familiarize ourselves with the basics of the interface, and we've also seen what each layers are. Then we've also we had a quick look at Power Query, what the tab is, and that is the basics of Power BI. Uh, for business intelligence, really. And we haven't really done any business intelligence actually. What we've done is introduce ourselves to the platform, how it works, how we move things around, how we move data in, how the relationship between two tables are established, how to connect to databases, how to load CSV files, and all of that. So in the next one, we are going to be looking more into how to clean data, how to use Power Query extensively. So we are going to connect to a particular data source, move our data in, clean it a little bit, then take the cleaned version into Power BI. And if there are part of it that we are still not comfortable with, we can go back into Power Query and adjust that. So with that said, I'm going to see you in the next one. Thank you for tuning in.